do the magic video. I got the main sub-platter and bearing mounted. I'm going to lift this back up to show you. And in fact, it's a lot easier to do this not with the two plinths together. So I suggest put it on a solid surface. I'm going to put it sideways a little bit on the table. Like that. And again, just tightening it down on the threading right there. It's just, again, finger tight. Don't get a tool and crank down on it. Make sure it's on and fully on, but just tight. That's snug enough. You can, sort of like with a car, sometimes you put wheels on, you drive 100 kilometers or miles, then you re-tighten again. Play the table for a bit, check this after a bit to make sure nothing's moved a little bit, but that's good, snug and tight. Put it back down. I'm working backwards with the table. It's a little unnatural, so you can see I'd normally be standing in front of the table. It just makes more sense. Don't stand behind the table when you're setting it up. When you're doing it, you're probably going to be in front. Okay, let's put the belts on. So we have two belts. That's a change. If someone has one of our first Pebbles tables that we put out, they had a round belt. We've made a change to a flat belt. Flat belts ultimately are more speed stable. They have way more torque. And again, this bearing, see, I'm spinning it, right? And it just stops. High friction. I really want the motors to work, but I've got to put a lot of rubber down on the surface to get that torque and strength. So, and to transfer all the power from the motors to the spindle. It's actually a good thing to turn this to make sure the ball bearing is in the center of the little cup. You'll very easily tell if it didn't fall right, but this one did fall right, luckily. And there's, it's free of anything that might be causing it grief. This is correct. It moves really nice, but it won't just spin like a top. Okay, so flat belt. Again, I'm working backwards. So this side is your main primary arm. Okay, and what we do is, because there's two belts and because of the size of the sub-platter, this pulley has 33 RPM at the bottom and 45 on the top. That's how you change the speed. This side has 33 at the top and 45 at the bottom. So you'll see what that implies in a moment. So you would put this one on first, okay? And it's on the bottom. And of course I've got a twist in it. Okay. And then, yep. And then you put this one on the top pulley, like this. Now the best thing to do right now is to turn it on, and I need a power cord, so stop.
3.
Okay, I got a power cord, so that'll make my job a lot easier. So on-off switch, gonna flip it on, okay, and you probably saw a little movement there. The belts were settling into where they want to be. So this is when I get down and I look at it, and this table's not bad at all. Actually, the top one looks a little high. So what I would do is get a little out. I provide all the Allen keys that you need to set up the turntable. There's a little Allen key spot here to tighten or loosen, lower it down, and then tighten again. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have the Allen key. I don't want to stop again. So just loosen. This one's a teeny bit high, so I'm going to tweak it down. And what you want is, you don't want the top belt touching the bottom belt. Okay, so that's important. So they should both center nice. In fact, probably what happened is when I took the main bearing off, it didn't thread right. So I think this is just too low. And I'm going to, really I should raise up the plinth just a little bit, retighten it. And because I know these are right, because actually I played the table last night, so I know these are correct. The only thing I actually changed was I took this off and put it back on. So it didn't quite end up exactly where it was before. So I don't want to move these. I'm going to just raise this up just the teeniest bit and relook, because I like the spacing between the two belts, or at least from the back side. Yeah, that's a really nice, about 32nd of an inch metric, something, millimeter, half a millimeter distance between the two. So this is how it should look. The next part is pretty easy. The actual platter itself. So over the Pebbles platter is the same thickness, 3/4 inch or 19 millimeters of bamboo laminate. This one, we've done two things to improve upon the Pebbles platter. One, we've added, and I should get a good light off of that, we added a copper inlay, okay? So where the label would be, and it is still recessed down to provide space for the label, it's a 1/4 inch, I think it's 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch thick of copper. And one of the reasons, again, voicing, man, really like the sound of that copper in that area. Really brought a lot of speed to the sound and a lot of tonal cleanness that I really liked. Just livened up the table. The other thing we did is on the bottom side, and that's the solid, well, of course they're solid, but they're brass, they're 1 inch by 1/2 inch brass discs, okay? And they're inlaid 1/2 inch thick into 3/4 inch. And so there's 8 of them, and because they're on the outside and mounted in from the bottom, yep, they're very pretty. I wish you could see them, but we wanted to get the center of gravity as low as possible. So they're as low as possible, and they're on the outside, which causes a flywheel effect. So I'm going to lower the, hard to do it backwards, lower the platter down, okay? And now I'm going to turn it back on, and see, really good up to speed. You know, that's a lot of mass. The original platter from Pebbles is about 2 pounds, and the added mass with this one gets it around 8 pounds of weight, so it's quite considerably heavier. So the added mass of the main subplatter and bearing, amplified by the added mass of the platter, the high grease bearing, the twin Hurst motors. These are top of the line, very specific turntable motors from Hurst. Been doing it since I believe the 50s. These are AC synchronous motors, extremely high performance. So the combination with the flat belt as well makes an incredibly pitch stable turntable. The combination too with all this added mass and the extra plinths and so on causes amazing bottom end, amazing staging, dimensionality, size and space around the instruments. This table has all the flavor of the Pebbles, all the richness of the Pebbles, which is no slouch for dimensionality, staging, presence, and bass. And it just takes, it's so funny, it really is the same tonal signature, just much larger. And, you know, as the table implies, it's just bigger and more of everything that's already there. And that's what's exciting so far with all our lines and all our products from Sprout, Pebbles, Bam Bam, and soon to have Block series, is keeping that same sonic signature throughout. Just more of it, you know, and just more of what's good about the sound. So all my designs seem to work down through the lines as I make it more basic, less expensive, and then bringing the design back up to higher end, it really translates well. And I think you may have noticed too, the startup is very quick with the table, but also when you go to stop the table, it's done, right? Because it's you know, with the two motors and all that flat belt, really has very good grip, so it stops almost like a direct drive turntable, but of course not quite that good. But so I hope that's helpful. That's the table, no arm yet. We'll do a separate video on the new Bam Bam tone arms. There's the 9-inch and the massive 12-inch version of the Bam Bam arm. Pretty exciting. Thanks.